It's Wednesday. You ready? Are y'all ready? Because it's Wednesday. Welcome, welcome. I'll let y'all give y'all a minute, let y'all get in, get here, get your questions. Of course, I ain't look up nothing before we got here. uh I'm still blocked on TikTok. Well, I don't know. It's weird. Like I'm blocked in TikTok Studio, but I'm not blocked if I use my device. So I don't know. What's this? Um. Ooh, let me do that. Hold on. I want to do that for sure. Okay, okay. I learn something new every week. Okay, I think I did something. I think I did some stuff. I'm not sure. Who freaking knows? Who knows? Oh, what is it? Oh, no, is it this hand? Oh, yeah, it's probably makeup. What's going on? What's going on? It is Wednesday. That means it is Ask Coach Catasha, which means we have sexual health questions. Did I look them up before I got here? I did not. Thank you for asking. So let's go. I do have a couple. I'll take that back because I did see some the other day that I put on my list. But I haven't checked since, what's today? Wednesday? I think that was like maybe Saturday? Maybe. Okay. Not you. Okay, all of those are spam. Well, it looks like they already took care of that, so. Okay. What else? Where else do I need to look? Let's look in my inbox. Oh, let me share this while I'm here. If you have any sexual health questions that you want to ask that you have not previously sent, or if this is your first time here, we are doing a live Q&A with a certified sexpert, which is moi. I am a certified holistic sexuality educator. I've been teaching sexual health for the last 11 years. 11 years. I've been talking about buttholes for 11 years. Probably but longer than that. I just started getting paid for it in the last 11 years. I deal specifically in Black sexual health. So most of my clients over that last 11 years have been Black American. I have built my practice around servicing Black folk and getting our sexual health questions to the forefront. I have taught at conferences. I've taught doctors, police officers, military personnel, nurses, everybody. I taught everybody. I've been paid to teach a lot of people about their butts. I really enjoy my work. And if you want to get into it, please, we need as many people talking about buttholes as we can. If you want to get into sexual health, I absolutely want to encourage you to do that. To teaching sex education, especially if you teach it for adults. There are a lot of resources for teaching sex education to children, which we definitely need that as well. don't want to take away from that. But there are a lot of resources for kids to learn about sexual health, but there are not a lot of resources for adults to learn about sexual health. So it's important that we are having the conversations that are necessary to get adults caught up on sexual health. Now, for me, I teach sexual health that's based around medical advocacy and for pleasure. Okay, so although I do want you to be better, I also want you to enjoy yourself. My 2 rules for teaching sex education is that everybody has to be of age, everybody got to be legal. That's number 1. And number 2, everybody has to be having fun. Okay, those are the 2 things that I'm here to help you do and to make sure that you're doing well. Hey, Christina, to make sure that you're doing well. And that's my goal. That is my goal in teaching sex education. That is my goal in being here for you, is to help you, to give you a resource for sexual health. There are not many for adults, and a lot of people don't know that we exist. That there is a place where you can go and you can talk to someone who specifically studies sex and sexuality. And we will not be doing any of the crazy stuff here. If you see me, I'm currently live on a bunch of different platforms. But those platforms, I had to build a relationship. I had to submit my stuff. I had to do all the things to be able to teach you sex ed in this capacity. So this is legit. You can Google me. If you Google Catasha Gordon, you will actually see a whole list of things that I have done. I have books. I have all kinds of stuff. I have articles, all kinds of things that are devoted to sexuality, sexual health, and Black folks specifically. So feel free to Google me and, make sure you're vetting your sources. I absolutely want you to do that. Make sure that the people who are talking to you about your butthole also know about your butthole, okay? But I also say that to say this, that whatever part, like if you decide that you want to get into this, you want to teach sexual health, there is something for everyone to do, okay? No matter who you are, no matter what you want to do, if there is a job for you, whatever you're willing to teach, somebody is willing to learn. So if you want to teach sex ed, if you want to teach whatever that looks like, we need you, okay? If you want to give greasy massages on Instagram, baby, we need you, okay? Because somebody's always asking me, do I know somebody who do something? And I don't necessarily know that. So, and if you have something that you are already doing, a sexual health service that you already offer, please let me know. I will be happy to plug you. People are constantly coming to me asking me for things. And I would love to be able to pass that off to you. I am just an educator. That's all that I do. So, but if you have a service that you provide that falls in the realm of sexual health, please inbox me, let me know. I will put you on my Rolodex, and when people are asking me for stuff, I can direct them to you, and you can make you some money, okay? Don't be afraid of exploring sexual health, of exploring what part of this you want to be, you want to get into. Whatever it feels like to you, that we need it. Whatever it is, we need it. So just yes, please come on in. Please come on in. We need yes, please do. If you have stuff, and again, I am not here to judge what the service is, what you do, what you are looking for. That is not my job. My job is to help you find what you are here looking for, and that's what I'm going to do, okay? So I'm not here to be judgy. Even if you ask your sexual health questions, my goal is to give you an honest, judgment-free answer that encourages you to participate in whatever activity you're interested in safely. I want you to be able to participate safely, but I actually want you to be able to do it. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, I also am encouraging you to do it. I also want you to get in there. So I'm not here to discourage any of your behaviors unless they're unhealthy for you, unless you are engaging in behaviors that are super risky. I'm going to teach you how to do those behaviors in a non-risky or a risky, what's a riskier, less, I don't know, in a less risky way. Okay. But I still want you to do it. To, I still want you to be able to have the fun that you're trying to have. But the goal is to do that in a safe and responsible manner so that you can show up the next time too. Okay. And whatever that looks like, if you're into bondage and if you're into fisting, whatever you're into, my goal is to make sure that you are able to do that and that you are doing it safely and in a way that you can show up the next time ready for the party. Okay, so that's my goal. I'm just here to talk to you about sex, here to talk to you about sexuality. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to tell you what you should and you shouldn't be doing. You should be doing everything. Okay. You only got one life, baby. Make sure you're using it and using it well. Okay. So let's talk about how we do this in a way that doesn't get us blocked in whatever. Now, it's a possibility I'm probably going to be blocked. I'm probably going to get blocked, but I'll be back. Okay. That's always the thing, is that even if I do get blocked, I will be back. But we got to make sure that you can make it back too. Okay. So as you're asking your sexual health questions, I'm going to ask you to put your house medical hat on. Okay. Your law and order hat on. I need you to put on your best version of house. Okay. The best version of house to answer your question, to ask your question, because your whatever platform you're viewing this on has built-in moderation, and that built-in moderation is going to filter some of the words out. And if it thinks that you're talking about something inappropriate or anything like that, it may not show your question up to me. I may not get to see your question. I may not get to see what you have going on. So if you have a question and you want to ask me, try to use a medical format for the question, even if the question has nothing to do with medical stuff. If you're asking me what is fleet and how do you use it, that is absolutely fine, but just ask that in a way that it doesn't that your account doesn't get blocked or that the question doesn't show up, because I do want you to learn about the things that you're trying to learn, but I can't do that if I don't get to see the question. So ask your questions. Okay. I'm not discouraging you asking your questions. I want to overly encourage you to ask your questions, just because there's not a lot of places for you to get the information that I'm offering. Okay. People have to pay me on a regular basis for this. But I know that in this economy, I don't want you to have to choose between your sexual health and, whatever else, your medication, your food, whatever. I don't want that. So I'm offering this space that's opened up for you to be able to come in and talk about your sexuality and talk about any sexual questions you may have with someone where it doesn't feel like you have to, where you're breaking the bank. Okay, we got a question. What is the right way to clean out for backdoor fun? Okay, that's a really good question. And it's really cool that you asked that question, because I just seen a video the other day and I was taking a shower and I was like, I need to talk about that. So how do you prepare for anal play? Okay. Preparing for it is a process to prepare for anal play. Sex back there is not the same as sex in the front. Okay. So there are things that people genuinely do to be able to prepare for backdoor play. Okay. That's how we'll keep it safe. We're just going to call it backdoor play. There is a process that you're going to have to go through that looks different based on what you have, your resources that you have. Back in the day, there wasn't a lot of things that people had available to be able to do that. And so I'm going to show you the basic, or talk about the basic way that people prepared for anal sex back in the day without having to spend any money or do anything additional. Okay. And this is going to be for if you, no matter what you have in the front, okay? So as long as you have a working rectum, this process is going to be for you. So essentially what you want to do is that your sphincter, in behind you in your sphincter, you have two sphincters actually. You have a involuntary sphincter and you have a voluntary sphincter. That is a canal that is attached to your intestines. So your intestines, as they're cleaning themselves out, it moves your bodily waste, which is your feces, through that tube and out of the body to get rid of your poop. Okay. Now, if you are using that for something other than pooping, there's a possibility that you are going to run into feces. And so to remedy that, people usually clean themselves out before they engage in backdoor play. So what does that look like? It actually is a process that starts much earlier. So depending on, where you are and how you feel about it, if people know they're going to be participating in anal activities, they usually eat light for the day, right? Because you don't want to be heavy and you don't want to have a lot to have to clean out. Yes, you're going to have to clean out, but how much you eat determines how much is going to be in that tract and how far along it is. I don't know what your body does, but your body is going to move your feces down into that tract and move it out of the body within a certain amount of time once it gets through its nutrients and, just takes the waste product of your food and moves it out. How long it takes for that process to happen could have an impact on your sexual activity for the day. So people usually begin by eating light on days when they plan on playing in, back there. Now, that's not everybody's ministry, especially if most of your sexual activity happens anally. Because you can't just eat light every day. You can't have a salad or soup every day. So that is completely a preference for you. If you want to eat light, if you don't want to eat light, that's fine. What you're essentially going to do is you are going to clean out that tract so that whatever you're introducing into the rectum doesn't come out with feces. Okay. So what do? You can take a warm soapy water the same way you would do a child and perform an enema. And an enema is just going to be a process where you are cleaning out any leftover feces that's in that tract. You can do it in the same way that you do a child's enema. If you are a parent and you ever had to give a child an enema, it's pretty much the same way. You can also use the same tools if you want. That little bulb that you would use for a child's nose or anything, or for back there, don't use them both. You need to have one for up here and one for down there. Don't use the same ones. But if you are looking for something less invasive, which sometimes people struggle with, putting things up there or feeling like that it's a process to put things up there, you can use something that's small, like one of those bulbs, and just fill it up with soapy water. And essentially what you're going to do is you're going to put water into the rectum and then flush itself out. And so how you can do this is a couple of different ways. People can do it in the shower. If you decide to do it in the shower, of course, you need to make sure you have all your tools on hand. And you're just going to insert soapy water into the rectum and then hold it for as long as you can and then release it. And you're going to do that a couple of times until the water is essentially clear, right? And so once you do that, and the soap, any type of soap that you would add in there, if you've ever cleaned yourself out too vigorously with your finger or with a towel, you may have also experienced some gurgling in your stomach, because that soap and that water, anything you add in there is going to, get itself back together and get it moved out. But you're going to do that as many times as necessary until the water is clear, and then you would be clear to have to participate in backdoor activities. Okay. Now, if you are old school and you have like a water bottle or some other contraption you can use to, because that's what they used to use back in the day. They didn't always have money or things to go buy, so they would use what they had. And so you could use a hot water bottle and put a solution in there. In the same process, you're going to flush yourself out and keep flushing until it's clear, right? And again, the nozzle for that is very small. It's not where you're going to be stretching it or doing anything like that. If that's what you're into, that's fine too. But just to clean yourself out, the nozzle that you would use is very small and can easily slide in. You would, if you need some type of lubrication, if you're doing this dry, if you're not in the shower, you can put a little bit of lubrication on there, put it up in there and squeeze and get the fluid in there and just hold it for as long as you can. And then when you can't hold it anymore, then you release, and you just keep doing that over and over and over. They also have a product that you can purchase called Fleet, Fleet. Let me put that in. I don't think I'll be able to put it in my TikTok chat, but Fleet. This is usually used by people who have resources. You can go to any health store, and you can buy this product. It's in a box. Thank you, Christina. And it's called Fleet. And you can buy it. It has the instructions on it. The instructions on the box are going to tell you to lay on your side and lay on your left side, I believe. I think it's your left side. Lay on your left side and insert the bottle into the rectum, and then squeeze the contents of the bottle up there and hold it for as long as you can. And then once you can't hold it anymore, you can get on a toilet, or you can get in the shower or whatever, and you can release it and let it go. Now, depending on, your diet or whatever, you may get a soupy something, you may get a couple of chunks. I just want to prepare you for what might happen and what to look forward to. So if you are squeamish, don't look at it, sit on the toilet and let the body do what it needs to do. But if you're doing it in the shower or something, you want to make sure that you are clean. So you are going to have to look at what's coming out of your body, right? Because you want to flush it as much as you can to get as much of the feces out as feels good to you. So you will have to look at it. I'm just telling you are going to look at it. So prepare yourself for that. And again, it can look a lot of different ways depending on your diet, depending on how hydrated you are. All those different things play a part in what comes out of the body. So you can purchase this. It comes in like a little douche bottle, a bottle that looks like a douche, and it has little holes on it. The solution's already in there, so you're good with that. And it's just like an easy pop and go type thing. You just put it in, clean yourself out, and you go on about your business. Now, if you are just talking about doing play like a finger or a toy or anything like that, and you're concerned about running into feces, that is a very what's the word I want? I don't know what the word is I want. It is a concern. Okay, don't let people make you think that it's not a concern. And the reason that is a concern is because you have two sphincters. Okay, you have a voluntary one and an involuntary one. The voluntary one is the one you can wink with. Okay, so you can make that one move. But in about, I don't know how far it is back, maybe like 2 inches back from that, but right inside is also your involuntary one. So you don't have any control over this sphincter. You do this one, you cannot control this one. So this one is the end of your intestines, and as poop moves through there, well, this is gonna be kind of nasty, so just bear with me. It's necessary information that you need to know, but just a trigger warning, it can get kind of nasty. Okay, so as the poop moves down and you are done, you're gonna pinch here at the voluntary sphincter. That's gonna be your being done. But there's a small space in between that voluntary sphincter and that involuntary sphincter where feces can hang out. Okay, feces can hang out in that area. So even though you've cleaned the outside and you've pinched off here at the voluntary sphincter, there's still poop that may exist between the that voluntary sphincter and the involuntary sphincter. Okay, so there you could have some hangout in there. Having that hangout is easy to clean. It does take you having to do a little bit more work, but it's work you should be doing anyway. You should be doing this every time you get in the shower, especially if you are sexually active, because that can lead to leakage and other types of things. And again, depending on your diet, it may stay in there, it may not stay in there. If it's more watery, it might not, things like that. So an easy way to do that clean out is to just use your finger. Again, it's not going to be much, maybe up until the first knuckle, that you would need to go in to stick inside the rectum, and you can clean it from around there. So it does give you more room to, if you're not doing the full number, you're not doing the full number, that's fine. But you do still have the option of just going in and cleaning that little area in between there to make sure that you're getting out everything that you need to get out, so that what's going on? Hold on, y'all. You're seeing my device is heating up. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Who knows? Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I don't know what that means. We'll see. If it cut off, it cut off. What do you do? But it is important that you are cleaning that little area out, because I saw a video where a girl was like, her friend says she gets down in there when she's cleaning, when she's in the shower and she's cleaning out. And is that necessary? It's not necessary, but it is good hygiene. You have a lot of wrinkles and creases and stuff in your butthole too. And so if you want to be clean, you need to be doing a good job of cleaning it. Now, you don't have to do much, right? You ain't got to go knuckle deep in there. You ain't got to go, fisting up in there. But you can use the pad of your finger to just move soap and water in there. And it also helps you to become more accustomed, because most of the stuff that happens, the pain that is associated with backdoor play, is because of you tensing up that sphincter and you being nervous. Hey, how's it going? You tensing up and getting that, that's where the pain usually comes in from. And one of the reasons that people don't have a lot of fun when it comes to backdoor play. But if you can get your body accustomed to the touch back there, it can help alleviate a lot of that pain. Because, you tell people, oh, you just have to relax. But that's a really difficult thing to do if the body is, tensed up and, not really open to that type of activity. So when you're in the shower, just take the pad of your finger and just introduce soap and water to the hole. And you could get kind of a suction, like, no, that's probably a terrible noise, but you can get the suction, and that is also helping to clean it out. So you want to be as clean as possible, especially if you are sexually active. And this is a conversation that I think is very important to have, because as I'm hearing more about how people are treating their hygiene and not really washing their bodies every day, and not washing their parts every day, and then introducing those parts to other people, that is super unhealthy, and it is not going to have you won't have a long and fruitful sex life if you are not properly taking care of your body. Okay, you need to make sure that you are washing, that you are old school clean is not new school clean. Listen, because I'm not gonna say mortified, but I was just like, are y'all having sex with these bodies? Like the body that you're just not washing all the way? Are you having Are y'all engaging in sexual activity with these bodies? Because like that's not healthy. And just, okay, so let's talk about it. If you have with multiple people, exactly, if you are engaging in sexual activity, okay, your legs are wide open and someone is in front of you pounding, okay, and your legs are wide open, a part of that being wide open is your urethra, which your urethra is right above your vaginal canal. So you have a little hole that you pee out of, and then you have the hole that you engage in activity with. That little hole that you pee out of, when your body is open and someone is in front of you, they are pushing bacteria that they may have on their body or you may have on your body into that urinary tract, okay? With that happening, that bacteria can travel up into that urinary tract, into that bladder, and give you a urinary tract infection or a bladder infection, okay? That is why you should be peeing every time you have sex. You should pee before sex and you should pee after sex, but you should definitely be peeing after sex. So if you are engaging in sexual activity and you have actually a few holes down there, there's actually about 11, okay? I know you don't know that, but that's probably not 11. There's 11 parts down there. But there's like, let's see, 6 holes. You have 6 holes down there. And all those holes can be clogged up in some sort of way. If you are, yes, you have glands. So you have 2 Skene's glands, you have 2 Bartholin's glands, you have your urinary, your urethra, and you have your vaginal canal. So all of those holes, those glands have, can be clogged up. They can get clogged up. You can get bumps and knots on them from bacteria getting inside. And so all of those things need to be cleaned on a regular basis, okay? Especially if you're engaging in sexual activity. If you are having sex, your body needs to be washed. It needs to be washed, okay? If you have a penis and you're putting a penis with all the bacteria of 3 to 4 days inside of a vagina, that is wild work. Why? Please do not do that. You will tear up the vaginal microbiome of the people that you're having sex with. It also increases the opportunities for infections if you're engaging in backdoor play. So don't marinate in the sauce. Please don't. If you are sexually active people, everybody should be bathing on a daily basis. I don't know if y'all learned this. I went to a black high school and my microbiology teacher was a black man named Mr. Baker. Shout out to Mr. Baker. He told me when I was in high school that there are animals on your body. There are little bacteria on your body that's consuming your sweat and eating all that stuff up. And it is necessary. It's a part of the body. You need it. But they are also pooping. They're eating and pooping on your skin all day. The bacteria that lives on your skin, for it to survive, it is consuming and relieving itself on your body, okay? That's why your pores can get clogged up. Like the things that are clogging up your pores that are causing them to become inflamed, that are creating blackheads and all that stuff, that is remnants of bacteria on your body eating and pooping, okay? You need to be washing that off. And it's also your body, sweat is a form of your waste products. Think of it the same way you think of pee. Yeah, he did. Listen, if you know a microbiology teacher, they probably do have. I remember he asked us in class how often we changed our towels. He was disgusted with us. Now, mind you, we're just, poor kids. We don't know no better. I'm like, I change my towel like every couple of days. He was like, every couple of days? You are clearly, like, he gave us the blues. And that, I appreciate him for doing that because it changed the way that I, as a child in high school, started taking care of myself, started changing my sheets, started changing my towels every day. That towel needs to be changed every day. But Maybe everybody didn't take microbiology, right? You could have taken another class. But just as a caution, there are bacteria. You have staphylococcus. You have all kinds of stuff that live on the skin. That's where they're supposed to be. But they're supposed to be in the environment that they're in. You can't introduce that bacteria into other areas because it will not thrive in the same way. Just the same way, a staph infection on your skin is different than a staph infection in your blood. And streptococcus is also lives on your skin, but it's different when it has to live in your mouth. So everything has its own environment. If you are not cleaning your body and washing your body and introducing that bacteria to other parts of the body, it can be very harmful. I always see people say, "Oh, I just get frequent UTIs. I'm always getting UTIs." And I always wondered what that was, because to get a urinary tract infection, that means that bacteria is getting into the urinary tract. Okay? You have to figure out how the bacteria is getting into the urinary tract. Now that I know that people are not washing their bodies, I'm aware of how the bacteria is getting into the urinary tract. So you should not be having frequent urinary tract infections. You should not be having bladder infections, because those urinary tract infections can move into your bladder and eventually shut down your kidneys. If the bacteria starts to replicate too much, it could over replicate and start to shut down your kidneys. Okay, so, and that's something that can be remedied just by washing your body. Wash, please, y'all. Getting in the shower and not washing your legs is what you're already in there. Like, you're being lazy, and I'm not gonna let you live like that. Okay, if you are in the shower already, you should be washing all of the parts because you're already in the shower. Why would you get in the shower and just wash a piece of the parts? People have 27-step skin routines. You wash your face, you do all of this stuff and putting toner and putting vitamin E and all this shit, and your body is a cesspool. Please, please put your thinking caps on, okay? Please put them on. In the shower, put it on if you need to, because there's no reason that you would be washing your face every day, having all of these products for your face, and then not washing your legs when you're in the shower. You're already in the shower. Like, I feel like I'm talking to kids. And to hear people just be like, "Oh, I don't do that." Like, are these people sexually active? Are y'all sexually active? Please don't do that. Like, you might be the reason that somebody's having frequent UTIs because you're shoving your bacteria in the urinary tract of the person that you're engaging in activity with because you're not washing your body. And your mons pubis is the goal, the purpose of the hair on your privates is to trap bacteria and sweat and all kinds of other things. It's supposed to be a protection mechanism for your genitals. If you are smashing those genitals into these ducts and holes, you're going to be smashing bacteria into these holes, and that we don't want that. Okay, please just wash your bodies. Okay, please wash your bodies. So I hope that answered your question about cleaning yourself out. Again, if you don't have the money for products, you don't need products to do it, you can please, and we're all begging you, please wash your whole bodies while you're in the shower, because please wash your bodies. Okay. And again, your body it's a mechanism. It has different microbiomes for different areas. So the microbiome you have in your mouth is different than the one that you have under your armpits. It's different than the one that you have in your vagina. It's different than the one that you have around surrounding your penis. It is different than all those other areas. And you cannot be introducing microorganisms from this area into this area. Just, clean your bodies. And it also makes me wonder, like, are people okay, so I wonder if people are sexually active, because like those you can how do I okay, if you're not washing your body, your partner is gonna know. Okay, especially if you move into an area of arousal. because one of your body's jobs is to let out your pheromones to attract a partner. And so if your pheromones are wafting through the air and it's being clouded by the remnants of the bacteria that's on your body, it's going to change your pheromone scent. It's going to change the smell. And whenever people be like, oh, I'm going to stink the room up, that is a sign. That is a sign that your pheromones are mixing in with sweat and microorganism feces and remnants and things like that. And so an easy way to remedy that is just to wash your bodies. Please wash your bodies, especially if you're engaging in sexual activity. It will keep you healthy. It will keep your partner healthy. And nobody wants to have to deal with the remnants of you bringing your unclean body into the bedroom. And now you got to go to the doctor. Now everybody got to go to the doctor and start taking antibiotics and doing all this shit. So another note, since we were talking about backdoor play, another note is that you cannot take something that you've inserted into this area and move it to this area. Okay, if you are using it for backdoor play, then it has to stay in backdoor play. And if you are using it for vaginal play, then it has to stay in. You can go from vaginal to anal. You cannot go from anal to anywhere else. Nowhere else. Okay? Because again, that is the remnants of your waste products, and you can't take those waste products and move them into a vaginal microbiome. That's not the way that should be done. So if you are putting it in the back door, you need to completely wash it before you move it into the front door or go back into vaginal sex. If you only plan on participating in anal sex, then that's fine, whatever. But you cannot move that from anal to anywhere else. Not anal to mouth, not anal to anywhere else. So I know that that's a genre of adult videos, and it makes you think that that's something that you can do, but those people are being paid to do that, and they have the money to go to the doctor and do all the things they need to do and follow the proper processes. They're being paid for that service. You are not. So don't bring those two, don't mix those two together. Okay, what about eating groceries? I don't partake, but want to know more about should I want to. Okay, yeah, same thing. If that's why it's so important that you are cleaning back there very well. I'm not gonna tell you that you're not gonna. Okay. I'm trying to keep us up. Okay. So eating groceries. In the most cases, if people are clean, you're good, right? It's nothing to be worried about. If they're if they're cleaning their bodies properly, then you should be good. But it is contingent on if the person is properly cleaning their bodies, okay? If they have hair back there, there could be residue and remnants if they're not cleaning properly. If you're going to be doing that, you need to know that your partner is not in the shower just washing the hot spots, okay? They need to be washing their whole bodies. They need to be getting in there, getting into that first sphincter and making sure that they're cleaning out because a booty hole got a lot of ridges in it. There's a lot of ridges and wrinkles and all that stuff, and you just need to make sure that it's as clean as possible. Now, I will say that the body also has a way of handling rogue bacteria, okay? You eat things that probably have stuff in it all day. I'm ralphing in my mouth. Is there a dripstick? Okay. So if you are planning on participating in eating groceries, and if you don't know what eating groceries is, it's analingus. If you plan on putting your mouth on an anal area, You just have to make sure it's clean. The clean that you would need to do on the outside should take care of everything, because you are I just said to check if there is no E. coli. So, okay, even if you do want to participate in eating groceries and you don't want to be doing it, any type of activity like that needs to be done with protection, especially if you don't know those people. So I'll bring out my trusty dusty dental dam again. This dental dam can be used and is made to be used for anal play. So you can put this over the edge and nobody has to, there's no transfer of fluids. There's no transfer of bacteria. You on this side, the E. coli or whatever is on this side. It's kind of like throwing up in your mouth a little bit. Ralphing is throwing up in your mouth a little bit. But you can always use, I don't know if you've ever seen Booty Call, but you remember the scene in Booty Call where they had to go get some plastic wrap because they didn't have dental dams. So if you have, if you want to use something that is a protection method for analingus, absolutely you should be using a dental dam, or you can use a dental dam for safety, especially if you don't know these people. And again, I'm not here to judge. If you want to eat booty on the first date, I support that. But you still need to know that this person has done cleaned that booty, and you don't know what else is in that booty, okay? You don't know what else is in there. So you can always just use a dental dam. Y'all are cutting up. You can use a dental dam, and as you can see, you can kind of see through it. It's not a big piece of material, but it is made for safely. You don't know if they showered properly. Absolutely. And because you don't know that, you still want to be kinky, you still want to do freaky shit, just use a dental dam. Just use a dental dam, or use some other kind of barrier protection that you can put over it. That's not just for eating coochie. It can also be used for analingus. And this, like I said, this way you don't have to worry about any swapping of bacteria. You don't have to worry about what people have going on. You can just lay this over it and get to work. You know what I mean? And you don't have to be worried. Now, if not, then you need to make sure that you're doing that with somebody who cares, who's not in the shower, not washing their legs, and making videos about how washcloths are for poor people. Please don't be eating those people's butts, okay? You are going to end up in the health department. You're going to end up at the health department if you eating people's booty who only shower once every 2-3 days. Okay, so don't know the hygiene of the people that you are trying to get down with, because you be to caught something you can't get rid of. You be to grew a tail in this bitch. But no, it is. And there are, depending on the type of activity you're participating in, you might have a higher probability of catching some of those STDs if you are not being safe. So first and foremost, always use a dental dam, especially if it's someone that you don't know their hygiene practices, because we don't want that. Now, I am not against eating no groceries, okay? Hey, whatever floats your boat, should be, let it float, okay? Let it float. But there are ways to be able to do that safely. And again, if you don't have a dental dam, I'm not always about, there are things that are made for what you're trying to do. There's always that, but you don't have to spend money to be able to safely engage in sexual activity. You can get condoms for free by typing in whatever county you're in, county health department. It's Saratoga County Health Department, whoever. And usually they will have on their website a place where you can order condoms for free. It doesn't ask you a bunch of information. It doesn't matter how old you are. You can also get HIV tests in those kits if you need to get them. So there are ways for you to learn, for you to get it without actually having to spend money. Again, Booty Call told me that I just need to go get me some saran wrap. Tommy Davidson and Jamie Foxx told me that saran wrap will also help me protect myself. So that works as well. It is, they have things that you can make for it, but that doesn't count you out if you don't have the money for a dental dam. These are also not very easy to come by, which is something that I want to change in the future. That these should be available in the stores, but they're not. But if you go on to my TikTok, I have a video on how to turn a condom into a dental dam in a pinch. Okay, so if you get a condom, you get a free condom, you can actually transform that with a pair of scissors in a couple of seconds. It doesn't even take that long to do. We might do that. I might do that one day. Do I have any up here to show you? I think this is the only thing I have up here right now. But I have a video on my TikTok of how you can turn a condom into a dental dam in a pinch, because dental dams are important. You can get STDs and STIs in your mouth. You can transfer them by oral sex. You can transfer them by analingus. You can absolutely get an STI from those transactions. So these are important to do. Again, the goal is to be able to have sex for a long time. We're going to use the tools that we have to make sure that we are creating a lifelong environment that allows us to have sex without growing a tail. Okay. That's what it's supposed to do. Okay. Okay, so if you have any questions, feel free to throw those. Yes, the goal is long time sex. You can have sex for well into your 90s if you take care of your body, if you modify the way that you have sex, and that you practice safe sex, and not just safe as in barrier protective contraceptions, things like that, but also safe sex for your body. So it's very possible to enjoy a healthy sex life for a really long time if you are willing to put in the time to do that. Okay, now if you have sexual health questions, please feel free to drop your questions in the chat. I am here to answer whatever questions you have. If you are dropping questions and you're not seeing me answer them, it's likely that they're not coming up because of the moderators that are built into the systems. So if you have a question that you want to get answered, or something you and your partner have been arguing about, or, at girls' night, they were saying this and that and this, please feel free to ask me. I've been teaching sexual health for 11 years at this point. You can Google me. I'm a real person. I've done real shit that you could go and look up and see. Like, if you Google me, it is actually all my stuff. It used to just be like my tweets and the slick shit I used to say. But now it's actually my work. It's my articles. It's my books. It's my podcasts I've done. All those things. So, but if you have your sexual health questions, this is a safe space that I've opened up to be able to come and for us to talk about it. Now, it should only be adults in here. I have made this to where on all of the platforms, it should only be accessible to adults, because I specifically only teach adults. If you are looking for resources in sexual health for teaching children, I am not it, but I can direct you into places that are more palatable for kids. The type of stuff that we talk about is not going to be the best introduction for children, but their children also need to know about sex education. They also need to know about their bodies. They need to know about consent. They need to know about coercion. They need to know about safety, all those things. And so it is still important that children receive the sexual health that they need as well. But with that being said, there are a lot more resources for teaching kids about sex education than there is about teaching adults. And so I specifically teach adults. And so if you are here, you are in you have a unique opportunity to get free sexual health from someone who specializes in sexual health based around pleasure for adults. Okay. You're also not going to find a lot of sexual health resources that highlight the need and the authenticity of pleasure-based sex education. So I'm not just here to tell you like, oh, well, if if it's burning while you pee or stuff like that. I'm also here to help you unlock what pleasure feels like to you, how to find your pleasure zones, how to make your experiences pleasurable, all of those types of things. So it is sex education, but it's sex education that's meant to help you enjoy your sex life safely and, as much of it as you can. As much of it as you can squeeze in, I want you to have. Squeezing as much sex as possible. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat. If you don't feel comfortable dropping your questions in the chat, you can always email your sexual health questions to expressionofrepression@gmail.com, or you can drop them in any of my inboxes. I try to check my inboxes regularly and pull the questions out. I do understand that, people are private. You don't always want people to know what you're doing with your butthole. I get that. I understand. So if you want to privately ask your sexual health questions, you can ask those questions to me in my inbox, and I will bring them back to the chat on Wednesday, and we can talk about them live, but it won't be attached to your name. If you do have your questions and you don't mind, you can drop them in the chat, and I will answer them live. That's what the space is for. That's what we're here for. I appreciate all the people who have participated so far, who have asked questions, who've emailed questions, who've dropped questions in the chat. Again, this is a unique opportunity. Hey. Oh, you talking to somebody else. I was like, that ain't my name. But if you have, like I said, this is a unique opportunity to ask an adult about adult sex education. So, take advantage of it. You can ask me anything. If I don't know the answer, I'll be glad to, we can look it up together. I know how to do my research and things like that. But most of the things I have encountered, most things I've encountered in my practice, and I have at least a couple of ways for you to resolve any issues that you may be having, right? And this is also a place because statistically, the likelihood that your doctor is going to talk to you about sexual health, that your doctor is going to discuss any of your sexual issues with you is low. It's very low, only about a 30% chance. And so if you don't bring it up to your doctor, they're not going to bring it up with you. And so and I understand why people are uncomfortable having those conversations with their doctors because, people don't highlight the importance of sexual activity. And so there are many things that could have an effect on your sexual health. Your diabetes medication, your mental health medication. If you are on Lexapro or any of those, hey, Shanae. Hey, it makes you an adult. It said sex talks while making wings makes me a what? It makes you an adult, baby. That's what it does. I gotta go cook when I get finished with this. We having a little pasta tonight. But your body is it is made to have sex for a while. It wants to be able to engage in sexual activity. It wants to be able to have healthy sex, but there are a bunch of different things that can interfere with that. And some of that has nothing to do with anything else. Like I said, if you have hypertension, if you have high blood pressure is a condition of the vessels. And so the way your blood moves through your body can also have an effect on the way the blood moves into your sexual organs. And so that could cause different issues with your sexual arousal. The mental health medications you're on, if you're on an SSRI, serotonin is a needed part of your sexual experience, a part of your sexual arousal process. If your body has a blocker in it, or it has something that is manipulating the amount of serotonin in your body, it can have an effect on your libido. It can have an effect on the way that your body processes and can hurt how you move to an orgasm. So all of these different things that you never even considered could have an effect on the way your sexual health is manifesting itself. And so it's a conversation that you may not have or that the space may not ever open up to have, but you likely need to have it. At some point in your life, you're going to have a sexual health issue. That's just the way that it is. You're going to experience low libido. You're going to experience anorgasmia, or, you're going to experience low desire. You're going to experience all these different types of things. And if you don't create the language now to be able to advocate for your sex, you will just push it down. You will repress yourself, and you will turn off your sexual nature. And it can be turned off if you are not feeding it. If you stress, there are so many things that can turn off your libido. Dr. Emily Nagoski says your turn offs are actually more important than your turn ons, because the things that turn you off will take you completely out of the running for sexual satisfaction. It will remove you. If your body and your mind is not in tune with your sexual act, you will not get to where you're trying to go. You will not have a pleasurable sexual experience. You may not reach orgasm, and that doesn't matter if you have a penis or a vagina. It can have an effect on any type of body, and you will likely move through different pieces of that as life goes on. And that there are things that could happen to you that would make you less interested in sex. If you do not address that, then you can create an ongoing pattern of not enjoying sex, and then turning it off, and then less and less and less, until you've gone. I know women who have gone 10 plus years without having sex. 10 plus years. Men too. I know men too whose sex life has completely dwindled away. And sometimes that's because of medical things. Sometimes it's just because, they're like, oh, well, this thing was happening to me and I didn't want to keep addressing that, and so I just stopped. Like if someone is experiencing erectile dysfunction. Erectile dysfunction is not just a dysfunction of your sexual health. It can affect your mental health as well. It will have you doubting yourself. It will create anxiety inside of you. And that's for men and women. If you are not comfortable with your vaginal capacity, if you're not as wet as you used to be, if it doesn't smell the way it used to smell, all of those things will mess with your mind, and it will move you out of the lane of sexual satisfaction. And if you keep down that path, you will never pick it back up, or you will just allow your sexuality to die off. And that's not what we want. We can't have that. Okay. No, there's no dead sexual arousal around here. We are in the business of keeping it ignited, keeping it going, and figuring out, as you move through these different parts of your life, you're going to have to figure out what it is that's dampening your sexual arousal or dampening your sexual activity, because it's usually something. Only about 1% of the population is asexual. Okay, that's 1%. That's the same as trans. That's the same as redheads. Ooh, hold on, I gotta fix it so it don't kick me out. Okay. It's the same as, there's a possibility that you could turn it off, but in most cases, if people are not interested in sexual activity, there is a catalyst behind it. And if you can get to that catalyst, let's see, that enforces the comment you made the other day regarding the ability to be genuine. Absolutely. And so it really can mess up how you see yourself. It can mess up your performance. It can mess up your confidence if you are putting your blinders on to what's causing your sexual issues. People are so emotionally detached that it's being in a relationship. I don't think that people realize how how important it is to be, for the mind and the body to be on the same page. So we talked about this a little bit before, but the orgasm actually happens in your mind. The ejaculation, or the body's reaction to that, is what happens in the body. But you can actually separate those two. And it's also the reason why it can be difficult to reach orgasm if you have a lot of things on your mind. If you have erectile dysfunction on your mind, it's going to make it more difficult for you to reach orgasm. If you have issues with your vagina, if you have pain, if you're worried about the dishes, if you're stressed, if you don't feel comfortable in your body, all of these things can take your mind out of the equation, and your mind is where that orgasm takes place. So if you cannot get your mind on board, you will lose the ability to reach orgasm. It will make it more and more difficult for you to get there. And although it is easier for a penis to experience orgasm than it is for a vagina, that can still happen to someone with a penis as well. If you are not in the mood, if you are distracted, if your mind is not on the same page as your body, then you will absolutely experience anorgasmia, which anorgasmia is when the body does not, you cannot reach orgasm, or you have difficulty reaching orgasm. And so, and a lot of people experience anorgasmia at some point in their lives. And again, it's just if you are not on the same page, if your body and your mind are not on the same page, it makes it difficult to get that orgasm. But if you can learn, some people can learn to separate those two processes. Okay? They can separate them. And if they can separate them, then they can experience the orgasm in their mind and never have the ejaculation. Oh yeah, if there's no mental stimulation or clarity, there's not much physical satisfaction. Absolutely. That's absolutely. And your brain will know that even if you don't know that. So your brain will give you the signs like, oh, hey, we're not having fun. This is not where you think we're going. We're not going. Like if you are butt naked, legs spread open, and you like, did I fold them clothes? Oh, is the water on outside? Did I water my garden today? I need to perm my edges. All that stuff. That's your brain telling you that you are not physically there, right? That you're not there. But how do we remedy that? How do we fix that? Okay, so first we have to see if it's a side effect to some medication. Okay, that's always my first thing, because you're not gonna work your way out of that if your Lexapro is the reason why you are struggling. Okay, and you can talk to your doctor about that. Any of the medications that you're on, if you're diabetic, if you're hypertensive, if you are on mental health, the pharmacology for that can have an effect on your sexual health, but there are other pharmacologies for it. So you don't have to take just that medication. The thing is that many of those medications will mess with your sexual health, but if you don't tell your doctor, they won't think it's important, because your doctor's not concerned about your sexual health. They're only concerned about your mental health or your physical health. They're not concerned about your sexual health. But if you go to them and you tell them, hey, I've been experiencing issues, I'm not focused, my sex drive has fallen, they can suggest other medications that you can take that will help you, that will help your mental health issues, but not interfere with your sexual health. They have them, they're just not going to be the first order of business. So it also is going to take you being able to advocate for yourself and say, hey, I feel myself, I'm off. I'm not where I should be right now. And, I noticed it started when I started taking this medication. So maybe, or just look up the side effects of your medication, because the doctors are also not telling you that, a lower libido or vaginal dryness or all of these things could be a side effect to the medication you're taking. So you are going to have to advocate for yourself as well, to say, hey, this is not working out for me. I would like to try some new stuff, or I would like to have something that works better with my sexual health as well as my mental health. There are always other options. There are always other options. They're just not going to suggest them unless you bring it up that it's bothering you. So don't be afraid to talk to your doctor about your sexual health. Most of the time, they know that it's a side effect. They just don't care because you don't have to talk about it. And, many people will not highlight their sexual dissatisfaction. And so they can, just say, hey, take this. Yes, I know that this is going to cause you to not be able to get an erection. But if you're not going to say nothing, I'm not going to say nothing. Right? So don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. Don't be afraid to advocate for your sexual health, and to let them know that this medication that you're taking is because some of the things that you have, the disease or the condition and the pharmacology for it can affect your sexual health. So, I got my stuff. So, if you are taking medicine for, if you are hypertensive, if you have high blood pressure, which many Black and Native American people have, also the Chinese have a very high propensity of high blood pressure. The high blood pressure and the medicine that they prescribe for the high blood pressure, both are going to cause you to have issues with your sexual health. They can both have an effect on your sexual health. Mexicans as well. And that's because we cook kind of the same. And so I did some research on this. There's some other stuff about it as well. I don't know how it is for other people, but I know Black Americans versus Native Africans, we also have a distance between higher levels of hypertension than Native Africans. And, it is speculated, one of the papers that I read said it had something to do with the slave passage and needing to be able to survive that for Black Americans, which is why we have a higher propensity of, one of the reasons that we may have a higher propensity of high blood pressure has to do with our DNA and surviving the transatlantic slave trade. So it also has to do with us, the way we cook, because a lot of the food that we had access to was not the best parts. Sometimes it was not the freshest parts. And so, we may do with what we had to do. And a lot of those have traveled over. But that's not to say, because a lot of the food that you will see, a lot of the processed foods, I remember I have to watch my family has a history of kidney failure and all that, strokes, all that. So I've always had to keep my eye on how much sodium is in stuff. And I remember I was at work and they were asking us what we wanted. They were ordering lunch for us. And so I went on to the Chick-fil-A website and I was just going to order a salad because that's where they were ordering food from. And I was going to order a salad. And it was like a cranberry chicken salad. And it had 1,500 milligrams of sodium in that salad. Now, they say that people should only have about 2,000 to 2,500 milligrams of sodium a day. I believe that Black folk only need about 1,500. But you can find 1,500 milligrams of sodium in a pack of noodles. So it's diligent. It's stuff like that may be affecting your sexual health that you have no idea. You have no idea that that's where that's coming from. So it is it's a lot. It's a lot. I will give you that. But your sexual health is worth it. Your sexual health, being able to have a fruitful and healthy sex life is worth it. It's worth the trouble of figuring it out, of asking the questions, of talking to your doctor. Hey, I was taking this and it's messing with me. And then he changes it and that's not the thing. So then you got to look at something else. Maybe this other thing is causing my sexual issues. So then you just need to look at that. Never quit, never stop. Please don't. Please don't. Because not being able to engage and not having a healthy sexual existence, again, it's not just a body thing. It's going to affect your mental health. It is noted, the studies show that it also lowers your quality of life. Having a distorted sexual health model will have an effect on your mental health. It will have an effect on your physical health. Because again, you will experience a lower quality of life if you don't feel like you can express yourself sexually, if you don't feel like you have the tools to engage in a healthy sexual manner. Okay? So don't ever cut it off. Keep going. Keep trying to figure out what it is, and figure it out. We have to figure it out. What is the issue? What's the sexual issues that you could be having, and what can we do to work on it? Okay? All right, let's see if we got any other questions. I feel like I've been talking for a long time. I say that every day. I'm just in here. I feel like, but it's important that we have these conversations about sexual health and about being able to maintain your sexuality, because people don't know that that's something that you have to do. People aren't aware that your sexuality needs attention. It's going to take you being curious about what's going on with your body. It's going to take you wanting to know what's going on with your sex life. Like, why am I not enjoying this? What's happening? Why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? All that. Yeah. Like, it's going to take you being interested in your sexuality, in your sex life. Okay. Woo! So what are we talking about? Let me see. I think we all right. Well, we'll be back here every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm probably going to get, I don't know, I'll probably be blocked again. We'll figure it out. I always figure it out, but I'll be back. That's the thing about it. You will find me here every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, because I will be back. Because I think this work is important. I think that what we do is important. If you want to, I got back into my Patreon. I don't know, I got blocked out. So I got back in yesterday. They sent me teaching sex education is hard. Like, don't let people tell you that it's easy. It's hard. Because you're going to get blocked off of everything. You have to constantly fight and do all the stuff. So we're going to get into some of our, I'm actually going to start a series on my Patreon where I'm going to be uploading the deep erogenous zones. So we're going to be talking about, I'm going to be uploading videos for how to access the deep erogenous zones, what to do, how to get to it, how to find them, how to stimulate them, how they like to be stimulated, where they are, all that good stuff. So, keep an eye out. If you're not already a member on my Patreon, you can still join. I just got to go in and change the tier. So if you join today, you still get in at $3. Because I went in to try to update it, and I realized that I had been locked out. So I'm going to go in. Maybe I'll go in tomorrow, because I got to go cook dinner tonight. Get in there and cook. Oh, yeah, I could do that. I'll send you the link. And to join our Patreon, so we could talk a little bit more in depth on Patreon without me getting, monitored. And hey, what do you do, man? However they need me to do it, that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna keep on talking about butts until they tell me I can't talk about them no more. So, if you want to search me on Patreon, it's Coach Catasha. You can find me on everywhere. As Coach Catasha, you can, make sure you're following along so you can keep the updates. I still got stuff I got to do. I got, a Halloween party. I got some, photos today for my erotic exhibit. I have people send me photos to hang up in the party of them busting it wide open. And I love that. And so, I need to get those together so I can get my new exhibit going of all the naked bodies. I love what I do. It's my job. So we will be back here next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I appreciate all of you who participated, everyone who asked questions and are using the space. I appreciate you because, it gives me a little bit less time to have to try to figure out how to fill up the space. Tell your friends if you know other adults who are interested in learning more about sex education. Tell your friends, tell everybody. I am here as a resource for you to so use me up. Okay, use me up while you got me. All right, that's gonna be our show for this week, or our live for this week. I will see y'all back here next week if we're not blocked. You never know. All right.